So you want to pay attention to the epigraphic material. I know nowadays in our publishing world, the books we have, epigraphs are pretty much overdone. You see them all the time. But he's using the epigraphs in a very um, strategic way. So as I said, it's every chapter is headed by a piece of poetry. It's from a classical European poet, a high culture, the high culture of poetry, and then quote unquote low culture of the Negro spiritual, folk music, right? Uh, the foundations of blues, jazz, hip hop, right? And so, he's doing it for a specific reason, right? He's juxtaposing high culture and low culture. So the high culture of European poetry or classical poetry, uh, and he's saying that, they're the Negro spiritual or African American music deserves to be understood in the same light as this classical, high poetry. Okay, so it might be a little hard for us to understand this in our day and age, where pop culture and our folk culture, uh, is has is respected, and um, there's industries behind it, and it's able to compete with high culture. But back in the day, it wasn't so, and so Du Bois is really drawing attention to the idea that there is a culture here. African American culture does exist. It does exist at a high level, and it's through this wonderfully sophisticated and tragic musical um, mechanism of the Negro spiritual. So the other thing to keep in mind too is, so he's juxtaposing this idea. He's creating a type of soundtrack to the text, right? So he's talking about music. He actually puts musical composition into it. So what's he after there? Is he after a type of soundtrack, like a Hollywood soundtrack, or is he after something a little bit more dissonant, something that's trying to upset or intervene in the dominant soundtrack of white hegemonic culture? Then we have the polyphonic, genreification. So he writes in so many different genres and so well in so many different genres. So this is a mosaic of texts, a collection of texts in different genres. And we want to pay attention to the effect that moving from one genre to another has, and his ability in each and every genre.